Recording. Okay, and we are going to call this meeting to order at 10:03 a.m. The first thing on our agenda, which I have put in the chat and I will put in the chat again, is introduction of new clubs and new club presidents. Are there any new clubs or new club presidents in the room?
I'm the new club president for the Torrey Pines Democratic Club. This is my second meeting, so I'm happy to be here.
Great. Any other new clubs or new club presidents that would like to introduce themselves?
Hi, Nicole Crosby, new club president for Claremont Democratic Club. Hi.
Hi. You're the, sorry, Claremont Democrat?
President, Claremont Dem Club. Yeah, Claremont
okay,
Dem.
welcome, welcome.
Thanks.
Okay. Anyone else? I see. Okay, I just see Nicole's hands raised. Anyone else, new club or new club president? Going once?
I'm Carl Rand. I'm actually the treasurer of the Pacific Beach Club, but we do have a new president, Hannah Bingham, who's kind of on her second stint, and I'm on her the second stint of serving as her treasurer. So Hannah Bingham is back.
I know, I'm so excited. Welcome, Hannah. So I see Angela DeJoseph.
Yes, hello. I'm the co-president of the Black and African Women Rise Democratic Club, and this is my first time at the meeting. And I also see Elise Pipkin-Allen, our other co-president.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm here, but I don't think I'm new.
Okay.
I'm the founder and co-president of the Black and African Women Rise Democratic Club.
Okay. Any other new presidents or new clubs that would like to announce themselves? Let's see.
Hi, I'm Andrea Cubitt, and I'm VP at the Women's San Diego Dems Club. And we have a new president too, Kathy.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Any other new presidents or new clubs that would like to announce themselves? Okay. Hearing none, I think we are on to the next item in our agenda, which is the candidate announcements, elected officials, party leaders, and candidates. I'm including candidates as well, their announcements. So any candidates that would like to make an announcement? I see a few candidates on the line. Okay, two whose hands are raised. Okay, Heather, if you'd like to go.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm Heather Ferbert. San Diegans are going to elect a new city attorney next year, and it's a critical office. Deputies in our office prosecute over 20,000 misdemeanors and handle more than 200 civil lawsuits every year to protect city assets and keep important city projects on track. I'm running because San Diego needs a city attorney with commitment, experience, and courage to put our values into action when we take on this important work. My opponent hasn't practiced law in 20 years. As a chief deputy city attorney, I've spent my career serving the public, and I know how to push for progress. I wrote the law that stopped evictions during the pandemic to keep families safe in their homes. Because of the work I've done, the Housing Commission was able to preserve more than 1,300 affordable housing units and create another 800. And I rooted out millions of dollars of waste and fraud by holding city contractors accountable when they've broken their promises or broken the law. I'm a working mom, and I know how important it is that we protect our kids and that they see us fighting for what's right. As city attorney, my vision for safety and justice in San Diego will be one that prioritizes gun safety, fair policing, and equality under the law for all. I believe public safety and police accountability go hand in hand. My opponent and I have genuine policy disagreements in this area. He opposed gun violence restraining orders to remove firearms from those who pose shooting threats. He exposed expunging marijuana convictions even after cannabis was legalized, and now he's working to reinstate prison sentencing enhancements like those used during the war on drugs. At the end of the day, I will always uphold the law equally and fight to move San Diego forward. Thanks so much.
Okay, thank you for keeping that that under a minute. Anyone else who's a candidate who would like to speak? Or elected official, or yeah, candidates or elected officials. Okay, or party leaders. Michelle Krug is here. I see Deborah, you have your hand up.
Yes, I do. Good morning, San Diego. I'm currently the Region 18 director, but it's going to eventually become Region 21. We're all getting ready now for a couple of things. One being convention, which will be May 25th through 28th in LA. and which is nice because we can drive there or stay, whatever we prefer. I'm organizing my 2 regional meetings. The first one will be Wednesday, April 13th in Mission Viejo. The second one will be Saturday, April 22nd in the morning. We're either going to start 9 or 10. I'm trying to get Katie Porter to come to that event, so that should be fun. And both will be potlucks. All clubs should be gearing and getting ready to end their rosters. April 26th is the last day you can add members for the pre-endorsement conference, and they'll be due to all regional directors in the state party by May 12th. So a lot going on, and I'm looking forward to seeing all of you next month at the Roosevelt dinner. Thank you.
Thank you, Deborah. Our next meeting, we are going to be concentrating on exactly that, on how we can become a chartered club of the California Democratic Party. So if you could send me a note, just send it to clubs@sddemocrats.org. I'd love to know who can present, who would be the best presenter to our group on that topic.
Okay, absolutely.
That's going to be the topic of our next meeting. So great. Okay, thank you. Any other club any other elected officials or candidates that would like to speak? Going once, going twice. Okay, if I haven't missed anyone, we're going to go ahead and go on to the next thing on our agenda. So real quick, we always do an overview of who we are. This is the Council of Clubs. I'm the current director of the Council of Clubs. Our regional this is the Club Development Committee, which hosts the Council of Clubs. So we're the e-board. I look at it as the Council of Clubs. And on the Club Development Committee, in the West, we have Indranil Banerjee. North Coastal is Rob Howard. Hugh Rothman is North Inland. East is Kira Green. South is Anna Webb. And our at-large are one of these days you have to correct me on how to say that. And Diane Aguirre is our other at-large person. So these are the people that are supporting you as clubs. And if you have any feedback from us, if there's support you need, if there is something that you would like to see us do better, either as a council of clubs or specific to a certain club, I want everyone to know about our feedback form. So we have a new feedback form. This gives feedback to the Council of Clubs. Here, you put in your name, email, both are optional. Right now it's registering the email, but I'm going to try to take that off so that this feedback can be given completely anonymously. We want all feedback. Your phone number, also optional, and then feedback. And this feedback can be any suggestion, any idea, any complaint, any issue you see, and it can be regarding council clubs in general or a specific club. So this is just a way to provide feedback to our group, which is the Club Development Committee, which hosts these meetings. So I wanted to highlight that. I've also gone ahead and put that in the chat. I just put it in the chat for everyone to see. Okay. Deborah, who just spoke, is one of our regional directors at the CDP. So the Council of Clubs is a function of the San Diego County Democratic Party, but our clubs can have dual charters, both at the local level through their local Democratic Party, which is responsible for all local races and local elected official positions, and through the California Democratic Party, which is the statewide umbrella organization. Now, if you're chartered with the California Democratic Party, and we're going to be talking more about this next month, your club also has a vote in statewide races. So this means your assembly race, your Senate race, and statewide positions up to governor. So that dual charter is why we're displaying this information. Michelle Krug is often here and Deborah is here today. They are our regional directors, depending on which region you are in, which is dependent on your assembly district. So many are in region 20, assembly district 21, and is assembly district 71. I'm not quite sure where that is, like maybe East County, and then 75 and 76. Cody, yeah, your hand is raised.
Yeah, I know I made that slide, but it's out of date now. You're going to want to update it with the new districts. I think Deborah maybe can clarify, but I think 74 is in hers now.
Okay.
So
great.
71, 74, 75, 76 will eventually be the new district.
Okay, thank you. There's always so much to know. 74, 75, and 76. Okay. So I don't know if Ellen is still relevant, but we'll check on that. Cody, do you know if Ellen is still 70? Is she still a person here?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay,
She is until May.
until May. Got it. Okay, well, this is why we have to learn all about this next month because it's confusing to me. So I assume if things are confusing to me, they are also confusing to others, which is why we are this month once again focusing on our local races and our local endorsement processes and how our local clubs can be involved and have a voice in our local Democratic Party at our Democratic caucuses. Now, I had sent out an email about a week ago to all the clubs outlining this entire process. And this is what today Maral, who is staff at the county party, is going to be speaking to us about. This is how you get an associate, how you do an endorsement, and that endorsement holds weight at your regional caucus. And then I had to send out a correction email because there's a lot of information here and I'd gotten a point wrong. So if it feels like we're being a little bit repetitive, that is on purpose because I need the repetition. So I assume others will too. And we want to make sure as these upcoming friendly endorsement votes, friendly incumbent endorsement votes are happening, that your club has a vote and a voice. So with that in mind, Maral, are you ready to share your screen and present?
Yeah, I am. Okay.
You are a co-host, so go for it.
Okay, great. Hi, everyone. I'm Maral. I'm the campaign services coordinator at the county party. And I'm going to present briefly just for a portion of this meeting on the FIE process, as well as the regular endorsement process, essentially kind of where we're at with that. I also just did want to qualify really briefly. I am not here to speak about the timeline itself and why things are scheduled when. That's something that if you still have any questions about or just any concerns about that, please speak with your vice chairs on that. That is not what I am here to speak on, nor can I address that stuff. So yes, just wanted to make that clear that I'm kind of just speaking about the process strictly. Okay, so just moving on, this is just a little bit about our endorsements, like and when they're scheduled and why and how. And so basically the races, they're decided by area. So we have, our five areas that the county is divided into, which is the East, Metro, West, North Inland, North Coastal, and South. And so geographically, that's where we decide like which areas will hold those considerations. We do have our endorsement schedule up, which is on at sddems.link/timeline. Many of you have already seen that and are familiar with that. It's linked there, but it's also accessible, I believe, through our website. And then also, our scheduling just ensures that we have time for noticing candidates and sending and receiving questionnaires. And also, just kind of something that to be aware of is which races are contested. Currently, none of the races that we have that are scheduled are contested, but obviously that's something that could change, and so we always are keeping up with that as well. But it's also good for all of you all to consider that because then you would need to notice any additional candidates. Oops, sorry. Where did it go? I guess I just clicked to the timeline, my bad. Okay, so let me just go back here now. Okay, so, well, yeah, that links to the timeline, by the way. So for those of you who had the presentation and are following along at home. And then just, again, this is what our timeline currently is. So we have coming, well, actually, it looks like this still hasn't been edited, but yeah, okay, sorry. So this looks like this still needs to be revised, but the next ones that are coming up are the disregard. Well, that's for the e-board, I guess. But actually, yeah, this is correct. Sorry. So the 21st that's coming up is the friendly incumbent recommendation for Todd Gloria. So that's at the Central Committee meeting. As a reminder for this, for the FIE recommendation for Todd, the only people who will be voting on that, if you're just as a heads up, the only people who will be voting on that are voting members and their associates or alternate if the voting member is not present at the Central Committee meeting. So club associates will not be voting on that race at the Central Committee meeting. And then we'll be considering if we want to designate SD city attorney race as strategically critical. And then the next one's coming up at an area caucus level, or Metro West, which is on the 27th. And so that's going to be San Diego City Council District 1, District 3, District 7, and District 9. I know many clubs have been making endorsements in that one. That's great. They're all currently still uncontested. And then we have, as far as the candidate ones, next one coming up is on the 15th, Tara Lawson Reamer. I do see that Nora Vargas, I believe, has not been added to this, but
Yeah, she should be. She's on April 1st.
Yeah, so she's in April, and I'll double check the date. Sorry, it keeps
Yes,
moving
yeah,
forward.
it's
and
April.
I think I'm
April
not,
4th,
okay, so it keeps moving forward by accident. So Nora Vargas needs to be added to here, but Nora Vargas is on the timeline. That's for San Diego County Board of Supervisors, District 1. And then, but on the 15th in North Coastal, Tara Lawson Reamer, County Board of Supervisors, District 3. And then North Inland, Marnie, San Diego City Council District 5. I also did want to note that you'll see, for example, San Diego County Board of Supervisors District 3 is being held, North Coastal. That doesn't mean that if you're an associate member, or if you're just a member of our central committee who lives not in North Coastal, you'll be receiving an invitation still to participate in that endorsement, as you will for any of the other area endorsements. So don't be alarmed if you see like, oh, this endorsement's being held there. Like, we always make sure to invite what we call cross area voters. And again, this is applicable only to folks who are like members of our central committee, because I know not all of you are. But if you have questions about that, I'm happy to answer them. And this is just a continuation then of our calendar. I am not going to go through and read every single one of these at this point, but as you can see, we start to get in more into April and May, some of our education seats. So that's when we'll be considering those. Also, as a note, I just wanted to quickly mention, so many of the South area races, they have not been scheduled yet. They will be scheduled, but it is intentional if they're missing the vice chair for that area has chosen to not schedule them yet. Rob Howard, I see you have a question.
Yeah, when you talked about the caucus meetings, I just want to make sure we clarify, because sometimes I think part of the confusion is we talk about all of the options, but the reality is I think it'd be simpler if we just tell people at the, say, for example, the North Coastal Caucus, who is going to be able to vote, as opposed to who's getting the invitation and stuff. That's what gets confusing for me. So who at the North Coastal Caucus for that endorsement vote, who can vote?
Right. So the people who will be able to vote, so the people who are eligible to vote at caucus meetings are anyone who's a member of, if you're a central committee member and you're a central committee member of a particular area caucus, you will get to vote in those in those endorsement considerations. And basically the circumstances under which you possibly will not be able to vote is if there's if it's a contested race, like a contested among Democrats, like there's more than one Democrat who's running. And if your club has not made an endorsement and you're the associate member for an area for that club, then you cannot vote. So that's when, basically members of a central committee who are part of an area caucus can vote. And the only time that they can't vote is if they're a club associate member and their club has not made an endorsement, if and only if the race is contested among Democrats. Does that help answer the question?
So you can vote if you're a caucus member, and if it's contested, your club has made an endorsement, and you're the associate, your club has made an endorsement in that race.
Correct. That's when you can vote.
Right. I process on the positives instead of what you can't do. So it just makes it easier for me. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, no problem. Linda.
Yeah, Morale, on the previous slide, it had a mention of strategically critical races. And I was just wondering how that's going to be determined, and is it on the timeline somewhere?
It should be on the timeline, but basically for a race to be a strategically critical race is clubs don't have to, for example, make an endorsement to decide if some race should strictly be deemed strategically critical. It just basically means that, it's a reason to have like an earlier endorsement for like a race. Like that's kind of like just bringing focus and attention to a race. But strictly deciding if a club, or not club, sorry, strictly deciding if a race is going to be strategically critical is not something that clubs have to like make that decision. Like that's not something in which like their participation is contingent on whether or not they've endorsed. Like that's not something like that. Like it's usually what happens is like, a vice chair decides like, I want this race to be considered strategically critical, or an area caucus, someone is like, we should consider this race strategically critical. And so then like, the people at the area caucus will be like, yes, like, sure. And then it gets added as like a strategically critical race. But then like, that doesn't mean it has nothing to do with like the candidate as much. It has more to do with like actual deciding that race is like a priority.
But the problem is that we run into situations where they determine it's strategically critical, and then like the next meeting they vote on it, and that doesn't give us enough time to.
That is a question I would consider you taking up with your vice chair, as I can't really speak to the determinations as to why things are scheduled when.
Thank
you. Samantha Jenkins.
Thank you. Just a question to elaborate on this conversation around the designation of strategically critical. And I'm wondering, what is the criteria for that designation? And additionally, at the Central Committee level, who gets to be a part of the deliberative process around rendering a race strategically critical?
Usually it might be like a race where it's something in which like, I'm just trying to think of like examples of like criteria, like either it's advantageous to make an earlier endorsement in that race, be it, for example, we think that, if by doing so and then ultimately making an earlier endorsement, it'll be beneficial, like if we're able to raise, funds for them sooner, we're able to like invest more resources in them sooner. So something like that might be something. Or, we foresee that it's a race in which like, the Republicans have a candidate maybe coming up, and then they like want to like, or they're already like kind of having someone like down their pipeline. So we should also make an endorsement like sooner than later. So then we have somebody that we can like be investing in. But also it straight up could just be, sometimes I've seen a member of an area caucus say like, hey, why isn't this race like strategically critical already? Like, can we like also determine like this race is strategically critical? And sometimes it's as simple as that. And then the area caucus will like, do a hand vote on it. And yeah.
So just for the sake of clarity, a club can decide that they want to identify a race as strategically critical and then send their associate to the area caucus with that recommendation?
I am not certain as to like the reason, like when it comes to clubs, so I think that if a club decides a race is strategically critical, that's specific to a club's bylaws, which I'm not familiar with all of the club's individual bylaws. If you happen to have a process within your club about deciding a race is strategically critical, and then like, wanting to take that decision to the area caucus, like that's, you can follow that. But if there isn't anything in there about that, you're welcome to maybe amend your bylaws. But yeah, that's more so there isn't a process at the county party about how a club should, like, that's not in our bylaws.
Merle, can I comment on this? Okay. So strategically critical means that the Democratic Party can hold a vote on an endorsement of a race prior to the closing of the filing deadline for candidates. So anytime the Democratic Party wants to consider a race before the filing deadline, which means there could still be more candidates that come out of the woodwork, but we want to consider it now, that's when the strategically critical designation comes into play. Clubs can consider races at any time. We had some clubs that did some endorsements in November of last year for the 2024 race. So there's nothing that stops us from considering candidates at any point. Now, as to the Central Committee, when they decide to make something strategically critical, Like, for example, they've decided to make the city attorney's race strategically critical, and they're going to vote on it in May, even though in June, July, August, new candidates may appear. That either starts at the full central committee or at the regional caucus, depending on what the jurisdiction is. For the case of city attorney, since it's multiple caucuses, it went straight to central committee. And that's put on the agenda by the vice chair if it's at a regional caucus. So the Chula Vista city attorney race is being designated strategically critical. That was put on by Sarah Cho, who's the vice chair. Or if it's going straight to the central committee, it goes to the e-board, and that's done by the chair back up. So the San Diego city attorney's race, at the last e-board meeting, there was a vote to make it strategically critical. And that vote was considered first at the e-board, and then it'll be considered at the full central committee.
Okay, can I ask one additional question?
Mm-hmm.
Is there been any consideration to the fact that deeming certain races strategically critical may have an equity impact and a marginalization value for candidates who may have more considerations or financial limitations who get into races, and that how that may disproportionately impact candidates of color?
Well, there was a discussion at the e-board regarding this city attorney's race, and yes, there was some discussion as to the fact that that will give advantage to well-known candidates. And the votes went the way they went. That's unfortunately all I can say on that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I'm ready to move on to the rest of the presentation now. So if there's additional questions about this, please reach out to me. So going over now some party rules concerning clubs and recommendations and endorsements. This is very extensively outlined in our policies and procedures on those pages. And basically this kind of goes into associate members to the central committee and when they can vote. So basically associate members are able to vote when the number of Democratic candidates being considered are equal to the number of open seats, which means that basically the same thing as far as the race is not contested among Democrats. And if it is contested among Democrats, the associate member will only be able to vote if their club has held an endorsement vote and they've notified the party of their vote at least 48 hours prior to the caucus meeting at which the consideration will occur. And the associate member in that instance is bound to the club's position. So in that instance, if the race is contested among Democrats, if you're an associate member to the area caucus, you can only vote at the area caucus if your club has made an endorsement consideration and they've notified us of the endorsement consideration 48 hours prior, and you are bound to the club's position. So you cannot deviate from the vote that your club has made. And that's only basically if it's contested. And so if, for example, the race is still not contested, it doesn't matter if your club has made an endorsement consideration or not, like you can still vote, maybe unless your club's bylaws tell you otherwise. But as far as the county party is concerned, that is the case. Okay. So basically just an overview of all the rules. These are basically like some of the things that you must be following, which is just like the applicable laws, and then party bylaws, policies, which I had just gone over on the previous page. Your club bylaws and policies, which some of you might have slightly different like bylaws and policies for your clubs. So please check to follow those, and then also just following Robert's Rules of Order during your meetings. And some more on the party rules. These are just some other basic things, which isn't necessarily related to endorsements, but just a reminder to folks to submit updates to club officers. If you have any new board members or changes in your leadership, please notify us within 30 days of the change or election. Submit the changes to the bylaws with a new copy if there's any changes to your bylaws within 30 days, and then that'll be reviewed. And then a reminder for clubs to please hold meetings at least quarterly, and for all endorsement votes. Notice endorsement considerations to members and the party at least 14 days prior. Notice Democratic candidates at least 5 business days prior to your endorsement vote. And then also follow your own bylaws and policies and procedures. Indro.
Yeah, Maralta, thanks for this presentation. It's actually really informative. 2 quick questions. The submit a change of new bylaws. Is there a form that we can fill out like a Google Doc? And if so, could you put that in the chat and email members? And
Yes.
the second is, oh, sorry.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, no worries. And the second question is related to officer changes. If we're designating members at large or that sort of thing, or if the secretary resigns or replaces that person, is there a form that we fill out for the party then?
So your question is first regarding specifically bylaw changes and second specifically regarding officer changes?
Correct. Like, is there a form for each one of those?
So I need to, and that's the reminder to myself, I need to finish setting up the most recent update form. There's going to be one form for submitting any changes. And so you would just update, upload the specific thing, be it like the board members changes or your new bylaws into like whichever like question for that form. But there is going to be one form, and I just need to, thank you for reminding me, I need to like make the updated one. If there's anything in the meanwhile, please email clubs@sddemocrats.org with like, an attachment or with notice, like, information on the change.
Okay, cool beans. That's perfect. Thanks.
Yep. Anna.
Yes, hi. So I just went to look at the Linktree form on council clubs and it still says 2021. Will it be received even though it's now?
I'm not sure about that as I don't have any hands in the Linktree. So I can't speak for that, but yeah.
But then I can also email you and.
But yeah, you can
I can speak to it. The only one that still says 2021, 2022 is the update form because we have not yet received the new form from the Democratic Party. But everything else is now should be set to 2022, 2020.
Okay, but should I use it?
I think it's still live. You can still use it, but like, just keep your eyes posted. Like we'll have the new one soon.
Okay.
Yep. Kevin.
Hi. So I see that clubs shall meet individually at least quarterly for all endorsement votes. I thought the rule used to be meeting, we were required to meet at least 6 times per year. Did that change?
As far as I know, it's quarterly. I don't know if I don't believe there's been a change. If that used to be before the quarterly a rule, then I don't recall that, but as it's been quarterly.
Thank you.
Yep. Suzanne.
Yeah, is there a form that a club can fill out to notify Central Committee that there have been endorsements by the club?
Yes, that form is.
I cannot find the form, and could you send that out to all the clubs, please?
Yes, sddemocrats.org/resources is a page that I would highly recommend, like everyone bookmarking, not just for clubs, but also for Central Committee members, that has all of our resources for different things. And under the section for Democratic clubs, it'll have a link to the, it should have a link. It's for the, oh, I guess that one isn't actually under there. I thought it was, but there is definitely like a link that's for that. And
I cannot find it. Can you please send out that form to all the clubs?
Sure, I will do that.
Thank you. That would be very helpful.
And Suzanne, I sent an email last week to all the clubs on the Google group. So if you wouldn't mind putting your email in the chat, I want to make sure you're receiving this. I sent out instructions based on this last week, and I'm happy to send it to you
okay,
again.
so it's sddemocrats.link/club endorse. That's the form to submit endorsements. And I'll add that onto there. And I thought I had, so that's weird that it's not there anymore. Okay, so I'm gonna move on now to this. Indra, is your hand still just raised, or do you have another question?
No, I'm on my phone. I'm sorry. I apologize.
All
for
good.
that.
Okay, so this is just moving on to rules about noticing candidates. So this is basically a reminder to folks for your clubs who are making endorsements. Reasonable attempts are made by the club to invite and notify all candidates at least 5 business days prior to the meeting. So by reasonable attempts, you know, obviously if you've exhausted as many or all resources as possible to notify the candidate, we also understand, you know, that like sometimes, like especially when we get closer to filing deadlines, you're going to start to see candidates like popping up in between that 5-day window. You know, you can still obviously like, you know, hold it's up to your club, like if you want to push it back or hold the endorsement, but if you need to notice in like less than 5 days as a result of that, like that's, you know, that's understandable. And then also a copy of any meeting notice sent to candidates shall also be supplied via email to direct your clubs. So basically just anytime, like, you know, you're sending an email notice to candidates, just CC clubs@sddemocrats.org. That's the easiest way to do it. And then requests for information from the club to the party office must be made 7 days prior to the meeting. So basically we have like a candidate contact info sheet. And so a lot of the candidate contact information is going to be listed on that. Brenda.
Hi, sorry, I couldn't open the link that was provided in the chat. Are those the same slides that Cody had made? If so, I already had them. I don't know why I can't open it.
I'm not sure how to answer that question. Are they the slides for the meeting?
Yeah, I wanted to keep these slides. So I wanted to see if they're the ones that Cody had made before, because I have that copy. But if not, because I can't open the link that's in the chat.
I don't know because I didn't place them in there, but Sinara, if you want to answer that.
So yes, they are based on the ones that Cody had made before. There have been some changes. Specifically now it's the FIE calendar for this time around, but for the most part, these rules have not changed. Not sure why you can't open the slides. They are set to public, but I'll double check that again as well.
Thanks.
Okay.
I'll email you to get a copy. Thank you.
Great. I'm just going to lower your hand. Okay. And in the interest of time, if this is something we've already briefly reviewed, I'm going to kind of just gloss over it. But this is the link for the candidate contact information. This link is also, I'm sure it lives in multiple other places, but it's in this presentation as well. We'll continuously be adding and updating this link. Indra, you have a question.
Yeah, so just two quick, quick question about the candidates that we have noticed. Is this link the list that we're to go off of? Because like you mentioned, candidates will pop up, people will jump in informally. And I just want to make sure that our clubs are within compliance. Is this the list, this scdems.link/candidate-contact? That's the list we go off of, correct?
You know, because sometimes I'm the last person to know that someone's running because sometimes other people will know and I won't, and it might not be filing period time. So it's not like they're listed on any official place. So for that reason, I want to say no, because there are just honestly, genuinely times where I am the last person to somehow know someone's running.
That's totally fair. Yeah, I just didn't know if like candidates were required to like talk to you first and say, "Hey, I'm running."
They're in a perfect world that would be awesome. So so I guess this is a good time for me to make a disclaimer. If you know that somebody is running and they haven't, for example, like filed anything, or like they're just simply like, yeah, I'm going to file or I'm planning on running, please like also send them over to the county party, because sometimes I genuinely am the last person to know, and it makes it extremely difficult to provide everyone else the information. So if you know of someone who's planning on running, please send them over to us.
Okay, sounds good. And then for best practice, should clubs keep a record of when we contacted the candidates, just in case something comes up?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, that would be great.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Yes. Samantha.
Thank you. Is a club's endorsement rendered invalid if they endorse, and then say a source such as the county party or some other source didn't have all of the candidates listed, so they didn't all receive their solicitation for consideration?
No, it's not necessarily rendered. It's not rendered invalid.
Okay, I just wanted to be clear. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so moving on to the rest of this slide. Basically, also, it's just a reminder to folks to like also call them if possible, keep a record of your temps. And then also, even if you're doing a friendly incumbent endorsement, you should still notice all declared Democratic candidates. So let's say if at this point in time, for all of the candidates who are like running for San Diego City Council, they happen to be at this moment in time, the only Democratic candidate who I personally know of and we probably personally know of is running. Let's say though that they were contested, you would still need to notice the other Democratic candidates, even if it was just a friendly incumbent endorsement, but you don't need to consider them still in the vote. And then also this is a reminder to folks to complete the club endorsement report form, and that's the same form that we had dropped in here earlier. So this form needs to be completed 48 hours prior. And so this also just mentions the things that you need to include and attach in that form. But sddems.link/club endorse is that form. So here's, yes, and I'm gonna pause now. Cody.
Sorry, a couple slides back. This is kind of awkward, but that was from the last line is out of date. That's from my October 2021 presentation, and I had to correct it in December because the party did confirm that clubs need to allow candidates to speak at the meeting, even if they're not being considered with the friendly incumbent. So I just want to make sure people are aware of that.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, that's news to me. Okay.
Yeah, that's what, yep. And that was December 2021 that I had to correct that. So it's been a while.
That's good to know. I see we're always all learning new things. Thank you for that. Okay, so going back to here, best practices for club candidate surveys and questionnaires. So this is basically just like, club bylaws can be stating requirements for endorsements. So like club bylaws can have like, their own requirements for their endorsement processes that have, as long as, they're compliant with like, the county party's bylaws, you can also still have your own further requirements. And then determining ahead of time if you're making questionnaires public and dispersing them, like that's a decision for your club to make, like, when you'll be dispersing them to like, the people who are part of the club who'll be reading them. And also considering just like, a few other issues, like these are just best practices to consider when like building out your surveys and questionnaires, but like the type of things are like what is the candidate's background, or like what are some other endorsements they've had, what electability means to your club, and the club can consider having a political action committee or equivalent to review the questionnaires ahead of time, kind of like a little tiny panel prior to like the actual questionnaire, or sorry, the actual endorsement for the club. You can have like a panel, for example, to review responses and report back to members if you so choose. And then depending on clubs, sometimes like, and like FIEs, like they don't necessarily need to submit questionnaires. But, I don't know if like clubs have started to shift away from that and also have questionnaires. The party certainly has, like we do have a questionnaire for all incumbent endorsements, and they do have to complete a new one anytime they're being considered, but clubs may not necessarily be following that, but it's something to consider. And then also just providing ample time for candidates and campaigns to complete the questionnaires and questions. Yes. Cody, is your hand still raised from previous or?
Oh yeah, I didn't lower it.
That's okay. Let me lower it. Kevin.
Just a question regarding the previous slide. No, just what was said about clubs need to allow candidates to come speak in clubs. So if a candidate or an elected official for that matter use their time at your club to speak in favor of another candidate for a race the club may be endorsing, does the chair of the meeting have to let them give that little speech, or is the chair allowed to cut them off?
I would defer to your club's bylaws, I believe. I'm not sure. I'm not quite sure I'm following the question. Is there like a different way you could maybe rephrase that?
Oh no, I just heard that you have to allow candidates to speak at your club. I'm not sure if that's referring to like when they come in and give like their 1 or 2 minutes at the beginning of a meeting, or if that's referring to when they're up for endorsement itself.
Oh, I understand. I don't know the answer to that question for certain, as I wasn't aware of that actually being a change. So I can find out more and we can update the presentation accordingly. Cody.
Thank you.
Yeah, it can be at the beginning. So for Young Dems, we allow the non-FIE to speak during the 1 to 2 minute portion at the beginning.
Cool. So it sounds like then that it can just be during the opening statements, for example. Okay. So it looks like that kind of like ends like that club endorsement portion of it all. Obviously, like this is something that we can discuss extensively for a very long time. And I'm sure some of you might have more specific questions about like your own club. Myself and Sonora are happy to answer these questions. And again, if you have any questions specifically regarding the timeline, both the scheduling of any currently scheduled or to be scheduled strategically critical races or endorsement considerations, please talk to your vice chair about those kinds of questions, as I am not involved in the determinations for scheduling those. I'm also, Cody, did you, I'm sorry, is your hand still raised or should I lower it?
Nope.
Okay, no worries. Okay, so I'm also just going to briefly bring up the Roosevelt dinner, which is coming up on April 22nd. An email I know was sent out, and I've been in touch with some of you regarding clubs and getting a club table. But our tickets are now on sale. And basically for clubs, we have discounted tickets of $150 through April 7th. So that would be a table of 10 if you want to, is, you know, like $1,500 for a table. So like if there's 10 folks who want to sit together for a club, we can just do like, you know, that much. And just for comparison, regular tickets are $170. And if you're interested in ticketing and also just more information, please go to sddemocrats.org/dinner. I'm the contact person for clubs who want like tables or just have more questions about ticketing. So you may also email me. And also congratulations again to Club of the Year, I believe is San Diego Young Dems. Yeah, I should have checked that, but yeah.
No, it was Dems for Equality.
Dems for Equality. Okay. I know that there was, all right. Congrats to Dems for Equality on your Club of the Year. Does anyone have questions about Roosevelt?
My hand's raised. This is
Yes.
Anna.
Sorry, yes.
That's okay. I wanted to find out, we had a few of the South Bay clubs had talked about going in with each other to get one table as a South Bay club table. First of all, I didn't know if that was possible. Second of all, I was wondering how we register that, because typically you have to pick your club name. So, but it would just be called South Bay Dem Clubs or something.
Sure. So you can communicate that information to me, but also it's, you know, there's a couple of ways you can do it, be it like if you want individuals who plan to like sit at that table to like purchase their tickets separately, they can do so at the link. And then there's like a section where it says like, you know, for club affiliation, you can just put like, you know, the South Bay, or if you also want to tell me which specific club, so I know that they're going to be like shuffled into like that table, but like we can just, you know, we can have that be like the table name. So, you know, also we always like go through and like check with everyone, like, you know, once we get closer to the event, like we try to clarify like who's supposed to be sitting at what table and which. So that's something that can kind of easily be resolved, but yeah.
But if we purchase them individually, they're 170. So we, you know, we want to-
There should be I thought, a discounted ticket.
Well, we can talk offline then. I just wanted to, you know, bring that up here primarily so I don't forget, but I do know, because I've registered many years in a row, you know, that there really wasn't an option, like, other than the club name.
Got it. Okay, I'll have to check on that, because that, yeah. I didn't put together the club ticketing page, but there should be a way. Otherwise you can also, like, you know, write a check. But I think the option is like there's like something for like an additional value, but like yeah, I'll have to double check that. Paula.
Yes, thank you. I hope I haven't missed this. So excuse me if I have, but how do we access the discounted tickets? Because we've got a whole bunch of people coming from the La Jolla group, and Derek was told it was 170. So
it is on our website for
now I'm seeing
non-discounted rate.
150. So how do we do that? How do we?
So I am looking on our website. It is a ticketing option for 150. So let me just go ahead and pull up our website right now, actually, so that I can show it to everyone. Perhaps that would be the best way to go. Okay, so let me just actually exit out of this. Let me stop screen sharing. And then let me just go to here. Sorry, folks, I'm just gonna go ahead and pull up the ticketing page. Okay, so share screen. Okay, so this is the ticketing page for our Roosevelt dinner. So I went to sddemocrats.org/dinner. And hold on, I'm confirming I'm looking at the right thing. Yes, okay. So if you scroll farther down here, you can see that, you know, you fill in your information. If you're an individual wanting to purchase a ticket, I don't know why Doug Case's info is entered here, I'm sorry. But there's, you know, it has like the ticketing levels. And you can see over here, club/go team/SAFCOM member, it has a 150 ticketing value. You can choose your quantity. Keep in mind, tables are 10. There's only tables of 10. So if you want, like, you know, more than one table, or there's more people than like 10 people who want to be part of like the club or affiliation, then you can still do more than like, you know, 10 people, but like just keep in mind there are only tables of 10. So this is the ticketing option for a club, go team, SAFCOM 150. You select the quantity. And then there's meal preference and club affiliation. So like, let's say, for example, for Anna, let's use you as an example. Like if you want to have everyone who is part of like that group of clubs who wants to like sit together, you could put like South Bay clubs. You could put that here. Or like, let's say if you're part of like another club, like La Jolla Dem Club, you could put La Jolla Dem Club here. And you select that ticketing option. Does that help answer some of the questions surrounding that?
Thank you.
Yeah. Great. Okay. And of course, like, you know, if there's any issues, like we review every submission that comes in, and we like spend a lot of time like trying to go over all table assignments and you know, seating. So we double check everything. So if there's something missing or something looks funky, like we will check in with you. Okay, does anyone have any other questions about this? And with regards to the rest, with the other items that I presented on, please feel free to reach out to myself or Sonara with additional questions. We'll be making those edits and updates to some of the items that were brought up, which was with regards to, like, you know, noticing other candidates if there's a FIE consideration. So we'll make that update. Thank you, Cody, for flagging that. But
that update's already been made.
Oh, fantastic. I appreciate it.
It's better to do it now than later. So.
Cool. Okay, and then let me just sorry, the chat function, like it seems to have like obscured where I can change, like I'm trying to drop my email in here. Sonara, if you don't mind, just because like it's like not like I don't know what's going on.
Happy to do it. Okay.
But yeah, it's like not letting me, like, I don't know, the window's being weird. So
I just
you just want to drop my email in there. So that's if you have any questions, but also please also email clubs@sddemocrats.org as well. Cool. Thank you all for your time, and see some of you in Northland and North Coastal later today.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no
Okay.
worries. I'm going to leave the meeting now, just a heads up. So yeah.
Sounds fine. Okay, so we're going to keep going over this in the future. Namely, every month I'm going to have a slide that highlights what the upcoming endorsement considerations by the party are, to make sure that clubs can keep ahead of them. Because it's, as a club president, I know how hard that is. Okay, now we're running a little behind at this point, but we're on to our next topic. Our next topic is our school boards. How are we going to stick up for our school boards, and how are we going to defend them? This is a topic that was brought forward by Rob Howard and Justin, and I would like them to lead this discussion. So Rob, you are welcome to take it away.
Yeah. First of all, I want to thank everybody for being here today. We have a lot of work. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on this because it's really simple. It's not even just about Democrats, it's about democracy. What you see happening is there are certain groups that are literally going around from school board to school board with their hate. And the thing is, their list of what they hate has gotten so long, I can't keep up anymore. They hate African-American studies. They hate any LGBTQ plus anything. They hate the fact that we're not teaching reading, writing, and they have trigger words. And if you all notice, some of the triggers, if there's a psychologist or a doctor in here that can let me know if how this actually works, but my little one psychology class, they had the thing about Pavlov's dog. It sees, hears, smells a certain little thing, and then they go off. Well, all they do is mention CRT. At the Carlsbad School Board meeting, one of the things that happened that I thought was brilliant was that board member Rawlings literally in such a calm and easing way asked one of the board members who kept bringing up CRT and comparing it to history of any of the other subjects associated with African Americans or people of color. So she asked her, how do you define it so we can be on the same conversation? And the reason I bring that up, and the woman, her answer was, well, I didn't come prepared to define it. So that tells you how they are mentally. So what we've been doing, there's a few groups around the county that are looking at ways to do it. And I would just ask the clubs to consider participating with anyone that is trying to work on that. As an example, there's a group that Cyril Troy is working on, and it literally, and it's not a Democrat thing, it's not a school board or people who are in the school boards, it's people who care about our children, people who care about our democracy. And there's one thing that we can all do. We can ensure that we find a way to contact. Again, if you are interested in participating in those efforts, then I'd ask you to Sinar, should they email you? Because I'm not sure how the chat's working today, but we need everyone's information and say, yes, I want to participate. Now, we're not asking you to do anything in particular. We're asking you to participate based on your comfort level. For a lot of these school boards, the best thing you can do is show up. Because what we have found is if we have people who are there supporting the folks we've elected, who are there supporting our children, who are there to fight against hate, they tend to be quiet. And as long as they know they're not challenged, they're going to continue to do this. So one, we want to get your contact, and we'll be reaching out to people saying, hey, because we have to put together an alert system. And I want to thank Stephanie Wells in North County, because for the Carlsbad School Board, she is able to email out to everyone and say, hey, this topic is on the agenda. We need people to be there. And here are some of the important points. What does that do? That makes it easier for people to come to the meeting to speak on that particular topic if they decide to, but more than anything else, be present as an ally as we fight the hate. So, like I said, I didn't want to spend a whole lot of time on it. I just wanted to put the call to action out to let everyone know we need participation. And this is where leaders in the Democratic Party can use their network to let their members know we need to start showing up. And yes, the direct focus for this one is on the school boards, but it's the same rules for city council, same rule for planning commissions. We have to start showing up. Not that you have to speak every time, but we have to be present. If we're not present, they win. So that, again, I want to get everyone's information. You can either put it in the chat or I'll have to look and see how we want to gather people's information. There you go. People can email me directly and I'll collect it. And once we get the chat, and I will make sure, I wanted people to be clear, I'm going to give your information to the group that's trying to set up the alert system. Now, you may get an alert for a school board meeting that is out of your area. That's fine. That's not saying, oh, we're expecting you to show up. But if you have someone that you know in that area, how about you notice them? This is going to take a proactive effort if we're going to start defending our position. They win because they're louder, they're more organized, and obviously they don't have enough going on in their life because they got time to be at all these places. And it's what I found is a number of the people doing it are the same people, at least what we have seen in North County, bouncing around from school district to school district. It is organized, and those who know a little bit more about some of the organizations that are doing it, there's one group of churches that are doing it, and as somebody that comes out of a family of faith, I'm grossly offended by that because it makes people who are trying to do the right thing with their faith look bad. So I'm going to stop there because y'all know I can go on and on about this, but you want me to capture the questions, Sonara, because
I'm capturing the info in the chat, and I think we're ready to have some discussion. So Tana has had her hand up first.
Hi there, this is Tana Rodardi. I'm the club rep for the Fallbrook Club. So we've had very active work done by what they call themselves the Fallbrook Freedom Fighters, and they were very successful in hindering some of our elections in the last election, and very active on our school boards, especially at Fallbrook High School recently. And so one of the ways that we're countering it is we're collecting data of every elected group and also every community group. At our next club meeting, we are posting those when those meetings are, the times, and we're getting commitments from our club members to attend those on a regular basis. And exactly what you said, Rob, if we know a special issue is coming up, say, just come. And what we're asking our members to do is, one, to commit on a regular basis, come back to report to the club, two, to speak at every meeting when we go. And if it's a board that's well run and doing a good job, we want to get up there and compliment them and thank them and say, we really appreciate what you're doing. And if there's a negative issue, as in Fallbrook High School, where they were trying to eliminate many books about, racial and LGBTQ issues, we were very successful at this point. But recently, the Republican won the election, resigned after a month. The board appointed a Democrat to fill the position, and they immediately started a recall campaign against him. So they're fighting very actively. So I love what you're doing. And there are times, we're small communities, so there's only so many of us. But if we increase our numbers and we're here for each other, then when we know, hey, there's a major issue in Escondido or Fallbrook or San Diego, wherever, if we can count on each other's, and what we've really recognized is, we've been complacent. Democracy was functioning. Obviously, there's always been room for improvement, but it is a true attack on democracy and equal rights and changing how our schools function. And so we cannot be complacent anymore. We have to be active. We have to go to these meetings. And we are doing not only the elected groups, but we're also doing community groups just to get our name out there. And again, counter these little code words, CRT and woke, and explain what that is, because at the end of the day, they don't even know, but it's enough of a dog whistle call to get them going. So thank you for allowing me to speak, but I think it's a great cause and we want to be involved as well.
So Tana, who's taking the lead on that in your club?
Right now, Ross Pike, who is our president, is taking lead. We have a group that is meeting next week. We actually did at our not previous club meeting, though, the one before, we did a brainstorming session with the entire club and had poster boards on the walls, and we had 5 different subjects. And as we review those, basically, then we will delegate, it might be the membership person in one area, it might be the outreach person in another, it might be the political action person. So that's still, but right now Ross is running as president, is running.
Okay, great. Okay, next up is Jennifer.
Hi, everyone. Jennifer Ainley from North County LGBT Resource Center in Oceanside. Like Rob mentioned, Stephanie Wells did an amazing job organizing a Facebook group. I have it pulled up here. San Diego North County Unites. It is basically most of the folks there are from Carlsbad, but of course, you know, they could show up to any of the school board meetings. I just like the way that this was done because they have everything in here, talking points. So I would love to see this group, you know, and I could do this in Vista. Vista hasn't been as targeted as some of these other places, but I would love to see this happen for all, you know, our cities so we could mobilize. And like Rob mentioned, the church behind all this is Awaken Church. And what's happening is please, if you could come up and join us, because every time this happens, the LGBT Center, the Trans Family Support Services, we are called on constantly to show up. And of course we will, but we are the folks that are triggered and traumatized, you know, from being targeted so harshly. So it's really hard for us to keep going into those spaces. Like myself and colleagues, every day after these meetings, we have to sit down and talk about and just release our emotions and feelings. Again, it's traumatizing, especially for our transgender folks. So if we could have our straight allies, please show up, because they are doing a great job of mobilizing and organizing. And if you haven't been to one, I have to say, I came out 30 years ago, and this is one of the most disgusting displays of humanity that I've ever witnessed. To me, this is like the folks that would show up at pride parades with their horrible signs telling us we were going to hell, calling us just disgusting words. But to have those people behave that way in a small space at a school board meeting, and round after round, get up speaking and just targeting, it's really horrible. So Oceanside desperately needs a group, because we have Dr. Julie Vitale, who is an out lesbian superintendent in Oceanside, and her wife are receiving death threats. This is how ugly this is getting. So any information I could find out, or any groups mobilizing and starting a Facebook page, I will make you know, everybody aware of that. But again, just please show up and stand with us. Thank you.
Okay, you mentioned two LGBTQ Resource Center, and what was the other group? Trans Family
Support Services.
Support Services.
Catherine
Okay,
Mowing.
I'm just taking notes.
Sure, Catherine Mowing is the director there.
Okay.
And yeah, thank you.
Okay, next up is Greg.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. I'm at my my union convention, and I've stepped outside because this is such an important issue. So if you hear background noise and that kind of stuff, that's why. As some of you may know, I do serve on a school board. I'm on the County Board of Education. And let me just reemphasize what a number of people have said. This is an organized effort on the part of the right wing. Not merely in their attack on school boards and the issues like critical race theory, their campaign against trans folks, but it's a springboard for further office. They consciously are targeting school boards because they're whipping up folks, whipping up ignorance, and using the momentum of that, not merely to run for school boards, but to run for further office. So it has a lot of real importance in so many areas. And then a couple of resources to help out with this. One, on my school board, we also hurt for people showing up and pushing us. Remember, the County Board of Education actually acts as an oversight and appellate court for these kinds of issues. That is, if something comes up in a local school board, we had an issue around book availability at an East County school board, which the county can then intercede and make changes as a result of that. So if you have concerns like that, please also don't just think about your local district. Come to the county office because we can offer resources. And then second, another source of resource on these issues, I helped put together a coalition of progressive school board members. And we have members throughout the county, North County, East County. Brother Howard mentioned Kathy Rawlings. She's part of this coalition. We can also help in that way. So I've put my information in the chat. I'm happy to help out in any way. This is such an important area, and thanks particularly Brother Howard for bringing this up. It's so important. It's important enough. I'm going back to my teacher convention here shortly. Thanks.
Okay, Elise Pipkin-Allen is up next.
Yeah, hi, Rob. Thank you so much for bringing this up. BAR will help you and do whatever we can to support you. We do have a member, Dahlia Baumer, who lives up in North County, so that I will inform her of this and we will come in person whenever we need to. We just wanted you to know that. What's happening down here in San Diego as far as racism is that we have been getting what they call Zoom bombs during our meetings, and they're often ugly, vulgar, sexualized. We have spoken with the district attorney who's trying to find out who's doing this to two of the agencies that I belong to. One is BAR and one is BAPAC, to see if they can find out who's doing it. And the last thing we heard is that most likely they will never be able to stop it. So they have disrupted the meetings. They have caused us to cancel the meetings. When it happened to BAR, I think one of our board members was able to delete them whenever they tried again. But it's absolutely racist. So that's what we're experiencing down here in San Diego.
And Elise, thank you so much. I just wanted to let folks know too, also, I noticed in the discussion about the Carlsbad district, when they were talking about and having the discussion about ethnic studies, interestingly enough, the part that they had a problem with was the African-American piece. And I'm like, what? So just know that they're not carving out one person to hate. It is a general area to get what I consider ignorant and people filled with fear to do the bidding of those who want to dismantle public education. Mm-hmm. So it's a bigger issue than people want to deal with. So I'm sorry. Who's up?
Georgine Tomasi. Georgine Tomasi.
Georgine, okay.
Am I next? Okay. Sorry. Thank you, Rob, for bringing this up because I just think it's an important issue. And I really piggyback on what you said. The most important thing we do is to show up at some of these things, follow where these people are going and be a part of that. If we're not visible, you know, they're already winning. They won a lot by having the charter school movement. You know, the charter school movement, you know, is a bastion in many areas of racism, and especially in our community in Escondido. You know, it keeps, you know, it keeps the white tribe, what I call them, together. So we have to be there. I think we have to know where these meetings are going to be present, be strategic about it, and bring people there, because it can't fall on the back of just a few. It has to be all of us. You know, Awaken Church, has 5 churches and a mouthpiece in Carl DeMaio, and he's going around. He's targeting various communities. One of the communities is Escondido. So if we're not going to be proactive, as you said, Rob, and we're not going to be there, then they've won. We've handed public education over to a bunch of creeps. So I think there's some kind of coordination that we have to do, and we have to be there and show up. Kind of like the nurses, what they did with Isa, getting him out. Unfortunately, he's in our area now, but that movement that being there and being present. So thanks for bringing that up, Rob.
Georgine, at the Escondido Democratic Club, who is the person who's taking a lead on there? Is there somebody who's really spearheading your club's efforts to combat this?
Yeah, we're trying to coordinate and get people to go out to these events. There's an event coming up on the 28th with Carl DeMaio, and so many of us, you have to register for these. I mean, they're pretty sophisticated. So if they're checking on who you are and what your affiliation is, political affiliation. So trying to art smart that is going to take some thinking, and that's what we're doing, to get people there to show up, to see what they're doing, and not get kicked out or not get accepted.
So Georgina, are you your club's point person on this issue?
There's a few of us. Our
Okay.
political action, there's a few of us who are doing this, who are trying to do this.
Okay.
Also,
Next up. Oh.
Before we go to the next person, because I want to capture this while Georgine brought it up, everybody, part of what we should be doing, if I put our party hat on as Democrats, is organizing our community. But let's put our democracy hat on. This is a perfect opportunity to reach out to groups, especially young groups who are dealing with this and know how to deal with this, to create alliances. Because the haters are doing it. They're creating alliances. Well, look, folks, we need to create alliances with those groups. So there's any place you have a young person's group, share that information as well. If you got another group that's not a Democratic club, but they're the Coalition Against Hate, let's connect with them. Let's begin to build our connections in our community. Because again, if you have real relationships with people who are doing real work in this area, it helps us do what our core mission is with the party. So I'll get off my soapbox on that one.
Okay, Diana Aguirre.
Hi, thank you. First of all, I did want to recognize Stephanie Wells. She did an excellent job organizing us here in Carlsbad. She's a Carlsbad Democratic Club member, so we're very fortunate to have her, and she works hard on making sure we show up to the school boards. And she also works with a local community group called the Carlsbad Equity Coalition, and they do have a lot of young members in that group. Another point is the media. When you look at or read the San Diego Tribune overview of what happened at the Carlsbad school board meeting, they really make it seem that we were divided, but in reality we weren't. A lot of the people that showed up at the last school board meeting were in support of the ethnic studies class. And then finally, I think Dr. Bhat Patel, who is one of our council members, she sent out an email, asking people to show up, and she called them basically white supremacists. And she has received a lot of backlash, specifically from her Republican counterpart, where I forgot her name, Melanie Burkholder, actually mentioned it at the Republican Party. It's really important that we also support our elected officials that are speaking up to support, what's going on. And one of the ways we can do that is by sending public comments, encouraging our council members, or thanking them, appreciating them for standing up for what is right. Thank you.
Hey, Ingenio.
Thanks, everyone. And Rob, by the way, thank you and Justin for bringing this up, this topic to light. I've got friends on school boards, and some of the stories that they've told me about how their families have been threatened, how they've been threatened, how organized YouTube videos calling them demonic or some other form of nonsense is out there. Just a quick point or a quick question. One of the ways I think we're going to be able to attack this is by having an organized central list. Is there a way to get a central list of every school board meeting out there? Just kind of like, and again, not to say like we'll go to every single one, but is that part of the plan here? Because again, it may feel like we're playing whack-a-mole on some level, but to Rob's point, this is going to help us get to that tipping point of community engagement, of meeting groups where they are, of discussing not only the school board issues and the education issues, but other issues. Because I can tell you right now, one of the things I'm seeing is the enemy the people out there who are doing this, they're trying to get cultural divides going. They're trying to exploit perceived divides going. They're using that to divide communities, and we need to be there for these communities in order to unite and in order to move the ball forward. So again, the ask that I guess I have is there going to be a centralized list? And if so, where can we house it? And Sonara, to your question, I think you maybe asked me, API TBD. We'll figure out who we're going to be using as a point on that in a moment.
Okay, Anna.
I just wanted to discuss briefly, like what Georgine and of course Rob have talked about, and what I see also on a level coming up to the 2024 elections. Because I know when I ran last year for city council, my opponent was endorsed by Carl DeMaio, and this is right out of his playbook. And they were meeting in the churches and getting our church community, in hindsight, now we know what their strategy was, getting the church community afraid of what Democrats would do if they got into leadership positions. And so, attack the school boards, attack the libraries, attack everything. But also the idea being to engage their community and win elections. And that's what's starting to happen. That's what's happening. So it is time. Thank you, Rob, for this, because it is time to organize and to gear up for 2024.
Brenda?
Hello, everyone. Vice Chair Ochoa has been organizing in the South Bay. We're trying to organize as, not as the Democratic Party, but as, nonpartisan group. So we're meeting every month as well. Our next meeting is the 27th. If you want to join in, be happy to leave my information, or you can always reach out to Sarah. It's pretty nasty out there. So our goal is to really coordinate with existing efforts. So we're not, reinventing anything. We want to make sure that we are energizing new people, but please reach out. I also run one of my nonpartisan groups is ACLU People Power in the South Bay. Facebook there. So if there's any events or anything that you would like me to push there to post, there's a large group of people that have been organizing in the South Bay that have been from 2017 when we started it, that we did Welcoming City in Chula Vista. So they're, big organizers and ready to act as well. So feel free to message me, reach out to me or Sarah as well to be included in the meetings. Our next meeting, like I said, is the 27th at 6:30.
Okay, Chi-Wu Chen?
Yes, I just want to share some information what we have done in North County, especially Carlsbad School Board meeting. And we attend school board meeting twice last time. And we show up, we speak up, and 9 members of our club show up, and some members definitely speak up, and Stephanie will, and another member was interviewed by NBC and Fox News, and you can see that in their news stream. And we also attend city council meeting to speak in support of our city council prayer. And we also post school board meeting schedule on our club calendar. So we try to get our member to, again, show up, speak up, and act to support our school board and support ethnic study. We had a small win last time because a lot of people show up in support of the film ethnic study. So at the end of the meeting, board of trustee vote 5-0 to approve the study. Thank you.
Okay, we are quite a ways behind now. Rob, is there anything else you'd like to say to finish this up?
Real quick, a couple of things is thank you all. And again, I'm just pushing this forward. I'm not like the person in charge of any of this. I just knew we need to have this conversation. So I wanted to bring it up and move it forward. We want to recognize that of all the things we do, we need contacts and we need to be reaching out. It doesn't have to be a partisan issue. The thing is, it shouldn't be partisan. We should be talking about our communities. I think we make more ground. And the last thing is, when we're doing these things together, I want you to think about this for a minute. Enjoy this journey we're on. Because when we get to do this, I get to see some really, really great people. I get to see people I enjoy being around. And if we're around people we enjoy and we're in this fight together, I don't mind rumbling. So, rumble, as Ali said, rumble, young man, rumble, let's rumble and let's enjoy the fight. So that's all I have. Everyone get your information in and we'll try to figure out ways to contact you and work on that list. Greg Robinson put a sheet. He said the actual school board list is on the county board site. So we're gonna do some research for you. But again, I thank everybody for participating. This is just one of our fights.
Wonderful. So real quick, Jennifer, you had sent me a link to a Facebook group for North County. Unfortunately, I went and tried to put that up there and in the chat to everyone, and the link, when I pressed it, it didn't work. So Jennifer, if you were able to go ahead and resend that or check it, if you could please let me know, that would be appreciated. I've been going through and taking notes of all of this as people speak about who's active where. And I so agree with what you just said, Rob, because I was at the East County Democratic Club meeting a few days ago, and Christine Wood, the trans activist with that had the whole YMCA debacle, was there with her friend Monique, who's a teacher who just retired after 25 years. They are fighting the good fight in Santee, and they said, we're all alone. These people, they go from city to city and they're spreading hate, everything we say. And I said, you're not alone. You got a bunch of people fighting in a bunch of cities. I know Nadia Kinayu from the East Lake Bonita Democratic Club had come up to support Christine at the last event. And I said, she's out there working in Chula Vista. We're putting together a forum. I invited them to this forum. They were unfortunately unable to make it. And I said, Rob Howard in Oceanside and Justin in Escondido, they're putting together this forum. And I know in Coronado, and I want to quickly say in Coronado, or ask in Coronado, Will, who is the point person of the Coronado Club on this issue? Because I know you guys are doing a lot of good work there.
Actually, we have a group that's not directly affiliated with our club. That is the point group for this. And it's made up of several members of our club and members that aren't, and people that are not members of our club. And we meet the week before our school board meetings and discuss what our strategy will be. We show up at the school board meetings. At the last elections, we went out door to door. Coronado is a unique community because people know people. So we went out door to door and just talked to our friends, and we were very successful in the election. We have every seat on our side except for one, and the person who is not necessarily on our side is a reasonable person, I think.
Wonderful.
So things are going well, but again, it is nothing directly associated with our club. Our club's position is school board should be non-political, and they stay out of it as a club. So that's where we are.
And yet that's a crazy political position these days. So who is the point person in Coronado? Who would be the person someone reached out to if they wanted to know what's going on in Coronado? Would it be Marilee?
Probably me.
Okay, there we go.
W. Seeger at Hotmail.
Gotcha. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just put all this in the chat about the people we've heard doing efforts all around the county, because I've been taking notes. And it would be really great if there was a county-wide Facebook group where people could be posting on, for people that are very invested in this or care about this county-wide. I would love it if someone could do that. And also, we don't have I don't think there's a representative today from the club, the San Diego Educational Alliance, but it'd be really great to coordinate these efforts through that group. I know I'm kind of suggesting a group for something and probably shouldn't do that, but it would be really, really great if our Democratic Educational Club could be a point of contact for that. Oh, Ruby Baker, are you with that club?
Yes, I'm VP of the club. We actually started like a little Google document that had a link, like a picture link to each of the sites. But I was listening. I think that's a really good idea to kind of have a graphic. I can assist in that, but not by myself since, teaching and whatnot. But Kate and I, we were working on that, and we're working on like questionnaire and all of that, just to fine tune all that so that we can, because Kate's also a school board member. She's not feeling good, so I came to represent for her. But there's a lot of, every meeting, there's always like call them two crazies. They'd either bring up a CRT or the sexual, like just AGE, which is student, education. And I'm like, I'm a teacher. There's no crazy stuff happening in the schools. So I mean, I would like to. I didn't see Rob's information. Greg, I'm in Labor Dems as treasurer now, but just something current for Rob, because I was like, oh, okay, I want to maybe join up in that. I don't want to put too much on my plate because I am part of CTA as a steering committee member and whatnot, but I can certainly assist. Sorry, my voice is a mess. Last day of school was yesterday.
Rob, can you put your contact information in the chat, please? If we can't send it to everyone, I'll send it out, but I think you can because you're a co-host. So, okay, wonderful. And then one more thing on this discussion before we move on. Elise Pipkin-Allen, you said something that I think needs to be brought up or made brought up. You said that people were Zoom bombing your Zoom meetings. Okay, I am a member of La Voz Demócrata. I'm on the board, Democratic Club. We are a Spanish language Democratic Club. 2 meetings ago, our last full Zoom meeting, we were Zoom bombed with the exact same thing as you saw. We had a group of young white males, which I probably shouldn't have just let them in the room from the waiting room, learned a bad lesson there. And they exposed themselves to us. And I spoke to Indranil about it, and he very much said, you should be talking about this. You should be talking about this. Now, our group's small, we're non-confrontational. We hoped it was just a random thing. We hoped it was not based in hate, but based on what Elise has just said about her African-American groups. Maybe ours, I mean, it sounds like the same thing. And it also happened to another ethnic group, and that's ours, the La Voz Demócrata group. So I don't know if any other clubs are experiencing that, but I thought now's a good time to speak about it. And Indranil, you're off mute, so do you want to say something?
Yeah, no, Ms. Elise, we can work on that together. There's some best practices that that we've learned over time. API has had its own fun incident. Someone actually got onto our whiteboard and started drawing things on the screen, which I'm not going to repeat, but there's some good best practices, some good ways of combating this stuff. I mean, one of the things I would recommend to all clubs is when you have one of these virtual meetings, have a virtual sergeant at arms. Somebody sitting there who's a co-host, who's finger ready to go to start kicking people out, and who can verify people who are coming in. If you see someone who's strange, I don't know, Wayne Gretzky, who you don't know, wanting to come into your meeting, you can ask Wayne, hey, where are you from? Things like that. So there are some best practices. I mean, it's unfortunately, I've been in a couple of these Zoom calls that have gotten Zoom bombed, and it's traumatic. It is horrific, and it is an act of hate. Plain and simple. It is an act of hate meant to intimidate people to not organize and to not speak to what our communities need. So yeah, Miss Elise, I'm happy to work with you on that one, and happy to help out.
Fortunately, we did have someone, Ismahan, on our board who knew how to get rid of them right away. But I would hate to have her as a sergeant at arms doing that job. I mean, you just get distracted and focused on what's going on in the meeting. Yeah. And the other thing is at the district attorney's office, they said they can't do anything about it. They can't stop it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, if you can get into a Zoom meeting, there are ways to, unfortunately, if you can get into a Zoom meeting, let's talk offline one-on-one, but there's also some like presets you can set on your Zoom so that you can protect yourself. Like no one can unmute. No one can show an image. No one can share their screen. So there are some presets that we can work with together to kind of get ahead of this sort of thing. But I'm happy, but let's talk online because I know we're supposed to talk, but we can work together.
Well, Samantha's on here. She is our vice president, and she knows about the language that you're talking about, because I don't. I don't know about
Okay,
precept.
no worries.
Well,
No worries. I'm happy to help.
we got two hands up. We do need to get on to the presentation.
Yeah, because I gotta run.
Exactly. So do you mind, Will and Anna, if we talk about this afterwards? I told Elise we were starting at 11, now it's 11:38.
First you said we were starting at 10.
Oh, I did, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I am ready. So everyone, we're going to start a new segment here at Council Clubs where we get to know a club. And the first club we're going to get to know is Black and African Women Rise. And we're very excited to have them here today. I chose this club to go first because last month was African American History Month, and this month is Women's History Month. And so the perfect intersection of that, we have a club. And I would love for them to tell us a little bit about their club. We're very excited to have them here. Elise, Samantha, other club members, please take it away.
Okay, thank you, Senator. I'm going to start sharing the screen now, okay?
Yes. And thank you for your patience. Sorry, this is taking so long.
Let me get to presenter mode. Just give me 1 second to get to presenter mode. I'm trying to figure out how to do that because I'm having a little challenge. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm having a technical issue. So maybe we'll just do this auditorily. And I really apologize because we had a really great presentation. And
I see you. I see your presentation. And down at the bottom, if you go to the bottom next to the Zoom, presenter mode is next to the, yeah, right there. Okay.
Okay, there we go.
There you go.
Okay. So I wanted to introduce you to Black and African Women Rise Democratic Club. As you see here, we have our president and founder, Elise Pipkin-Allen, with us today. And she asked me to make this presentation as one of the co-vice chairs for the club. These are the officers of our club. And Angela DeJoseph is here with us today. Ismahan Abdullahu, which you've heard we've spoken of, Dalia Balmir, and myself. We also have a couple of advisors who we know as prominent leaders in our community, Dr. LaWanda Richmond and Andrea St. Julian. And these are some of our founding members. We had a really excited group of women who are allies and of the African diaspora who joined us as founding members for our club. You can see their names here. And then our club is founded on the premise that we wanted to create a voice within the Democratic Party that speaks to the issues that represent the communities of the African diaspora. And we are a diverse group of women representing the Americas, the Caribbean, and Africa. And these are some of our flags of our leaders. So our membership has different rates of access. We have $100 rates for charter members, $20 for general, $5 for student and retirees, and then $3 for a hardship rate. So we're trying to make sure that membership is accessible to all. And something I forgot to mention earlier is that when we founded the club, one of the things that Miss Elise was very intentional about wanting was leadership that was going to be diverse in age, background, and experience. And so we have leaders who are in what we consider the younger demographics, such as myself, more experienced leaders such as herself and Angela DeJoseph. And we really share the decision-making so that we can create an egalitarian space and voice across generations within the African-American diaspora or the African diaspora. So we also have donor levels at our club because obviously we want to be able to financially support candidates who represent the values of our communities. And our donor levels are named by great women leaders from the African diaspora: Shirley Chisholm, Queen Nzinga, Edna Adan, Audre Lorde, Fannie Lou Hamer, and Amanda Gorman. Trying to create an opportunity for, as you see, various levels of access for people who are interested in supporting our club. These are our social media points of access. So as you see here, our website, information on how you can get support, be a supporter, and our email and Instagram. So if you wanted to reach out to us, you could do it through one of these venues. And then we have this wonderful collage of images of our women leaders in different places in our communities. This demonstrates who some of our members are. And we just really wanted to be able to highlight them in this really beautiful way that shows who they are and what spaces they show up in our community. And these are us at various events like Angela's group puts on the Women of Color Roar, and just various democratic and community events connecting with groups like the Be Wild. You see Dr. Shirley Weber prominently centered here. And so we just show up in a lot of spaces, and we want to continue to do so through this club in our personal connections to the community, the NAACP, and that's just really important to us. So these are just ongoing images of some of our members, and I'm going to stop sharing screen now and entertain questions about our club. Invite Angela or Miss Elise to make any comments that they would like to add. We were told we just had about 10 minutes, so I didn't want it to be too extensive. All right, well, I want to share that our club meets on the third Sunday of every month at 2:30. And in the event that there's a month where we're not meeting, you know, we try to make sure that we notice people that we're not going to be meeting. But one of the things that we are very vested in is creating a space for civic education and leadership development for Black women in San Diego. We want to make sure that we just continue to be a present voice in the Democratic Party. We know that the Black female voter has really been at the center of supporting and upholding democratic principles in America. And we have had concerns of late that our voices have been marginalized within the party, and our opportunity and our access to leadership has not been equitable and fair. And so we want to introduce our community to the party, because to be honest, we're seeing in the Black community in America a movement away from the Democratic Party and more towards other social and political ideals because of concerns that the party isn't serving our interests. But I want to make it clear that this club is not exclusive. We welcome allies and accomplices in the work. We welcome men in membership as well. And so we want to be very clear that the space is open to people who are authentically of like mind with us and want to see the advancement of our community and our party and our nation as a whole. And we want to hold the Democratic Party accountable for being the big tent party that it claims to be.
Samantha, thank you so much for that wonderful summary. I just wanted to add, I'm Angela DeJoseph, and I am one of the founding members and co-president. And I wanted to add that we are open to partnering with other clubs and working together. We know that some of you are in areas where you may not have African-American representation in your clubs. So we want to let you know that we are available and we were interested in partnering on things, and we invite you to join our club and come and learn about some of the issues that are our priorities that you can take back to your clubs. So thank you so much for this opportunity to introduce ourselves today.
Thank you so much for coming. So yeah, I fully support your club. I'm very excited about things that you've been doing. Having Barbara Lee last month was very exciting. I was excited to be there. And that's why we're doing this series, is to get to know a club and find ways that clubs can work together. You know, maybe some of us are members of one club, but we can be members of both, right? So, and where we see commonality, we can work together as clubs. So I'm very glad that you all came today. I'm sorry our meeting, as usual, is running way behind schedule, but we're having such an important discussion about school board and ethnic studies that I hope it's forgivable. But yeah, thank you very much for speaking. Does anyone have any questions for this for our club? Okay, Seeing none, I want to ask, we're going to do this every single month. We're going to have a club present every single month. This was just the first, but it won't be the last. Who wants to highlight their club next month? And not one of the ones that ran for Club of the Year, because you've just given a presentation. But what other club would like to tell us about your club and why your club is great, how people can be involved, and how we can coordinate with you next month? Anyone want to raise their hand and volunteer? Anyone? Come on. We all have awesome clubs and we're all very proud of them. Oh, I see Chiwoo's hand is raised. Chiwoo, which club would you like to have be the presenter next month?
Yeah, I'd be glad to talk about Carlsbad Democrats. We are quite new, but almost a year, but not too many people know about our club, our focus, our mission. So I would like to share that information with the rest of you.
Okay, sounds wonderful. And I see Andrea's hand is raised as well. Andrea, you're on mute. And you're frozen. Okay. So I think Andrea dropped it.
I pressed the wrong button. Yeah, so I think Sandy Women's Dems Club of San Diego would like to present, but probably in a month or so. But we are trying to relaunch our club and really drive new energy into it and get women involved. And I totally applaud the emphasis on school boards and would love to get involved in that too. But yes, give us a month or so though to really get something together.
Okay, so we have a list now. Carlsbad Democratic Club, followed by the Democratic Women's Club. And Rob, you have your hand raised.
Yeah, I would be curious to hear about the Education Alliance because, again, with what's going on, it would be great to see how we can connect with them.
Sounds wonderful. Tana, your hand is raised.
Yes, Fallbrook would also like to do a presentation and we can be down the road. We are making major changes this year. We're changing our website, our marketing materials. We are now minority majority in Fallbrook. We're 50% Latino. So part of our political outreach is actually just community outreach. So we'd like to report on that later in the year as well.
Wonderful. Okay, I have you on the list. Okay, sounds great. Well, with that in mind, on to our next update. I have your updates from the Community Service Committee. We haven't yet connected with them, so that's going to start next month, but we want to make sure that people are, being involved in community service as well. Our clubs are the best vehicle for that. So we're going to start that next month. Coming up next is recommend a speaker. Does anyone have a speaker they'd like to recommend for other clubs? Very quickly on this. Keep it under 30 seconds, but if your club has had a great speaker that you think other clubs should have, please let us know now. Anybody have speaker recommendations? I hear a lot of great speakers as I go from all club to club and try to see all 55 clubs. Okay, Danny Vita has his hand raised.
Hey everyone, nice to see everyone. I wanted to put in a quick plug, and this is just a speaker recommendation for you guys in the future. Political commentator Carl Luna is doing a political study on political violence throughout the country, most predominantly in San Diego, with you guys seeing a lot of political violence around the country. We're starting to see it here in San Diego, and he's done a poll and a study that he will be talking about at our next meeting on the third Sunday of April. So, just an idea, we are going to have a small group discussion and then, add everyone's voices within the party on this topic to that study. So if you guys are able to come to the next meeting, we'd greatly appreciate your feedback on this study to implement, your feedback within the discussion and the findings. And then, of course, we'd love to maybe have other clubs, bring Carl to talk about the same issue.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, any other speaker recommendations? I'm going to give one. I'm going to give a speaker recommendation. I don't know if people know about this, but the San Diego River, their Border Patrol is putting a gate across the San Diego River. That is as bad as it sounds. Basically, it will block the flow of water. It'll block the flow of sewage. and it will all build up on this gate. And then when there's a flash flood, they're going to open it. The EPA has already declared this will be a disaster. So I am recommending Speaker Napoleon Gudino, who is the preeminent expert on the Tijuana River contamination at the University of Baja California. If anyone would like to hear from him, I have his contact information. Okay, with that, on to the next thing on our agenda, which is announcements. So does anyone have an announcement they'd like to make?
I have something.
Yes, please.
I serve as the chair of the City of San Diego's Citizens Advisory Board for Police and Community Relations. And we meet every month on the third Monday. We are returning to in-person meetings now that the state and city have required that. And although I will not be present for this month's meeting, I still invite everyone to attend. We're going to be at 6 p.m. on Monday evening at the Skyline Hills Library. We're going to be trying to rotate the meetings monthly throughout the city of San Diego so that we can make sure that all sectors of the city, all the districts are represented and that the community members have access. This is a really important board. We address issues around policy and practices related to how the police department engages and encounters with our community. And we also look a lot at issues around racial profiling and how that happens within the police department, and trying to create policy and practice that can change related to that. So I would love to invite everyone on an ongoing basis to engage with the Citizens Advisory Board for Police and Community Relations, City of San Diego, third Monday of every month at 6 p.m.
Okay, great. Third Monday of every month at 6 p.m.
Yep.
Got it. Great. Barbara?
Yeah, first I want to thank you, Sienna, for putting in our announcement in the email that went out. But in case you missed it, in August, the art club will be having kind of a celebration of our anniversary. We're honoring Betty Ball and Fran Thomas. I know a lot of you know Betty Ball and have been involved with her, and she has been a great teacher for a number of people. I don't know if you know that she actually started the Go Team format, which the county took over, which was wonderful. We would love to have people write letters, whatever you want to write, or send pictures so we can put together a kind of a book for her, honoring, you know, what she meant to you, how she helped you, if you've had some fun stories with her. So please, if you go back to the email that Sienna sent out announcing the meeting, all the information's in there, and we hope you'll participate.
Okay. Any other announcements? Okay. Seeing no other announcements at this time, I have an announcement. Okay, the La Voz Democrata Democratic Club, which I am a part of, has been working on a lot of the immigration issues that are coming up lately, and we want to get others more involved and raise more consciousness among the clubs. So there's the destruction of Friendship Park with the construction of the 30-foot border wall. There is this gate across the Tijuana River, which is going to disturb the river flow and be an ecological disaster on both sides of the border. And there is the fact that they're limiting who can seek asylum very severely, saying that if you're coming from Nigeria, you have to first seek asylum in a third country like Mexico or Nicaragua before seeking asylum in the US. So we are opposing that, and there is a resolution that we have created in opposition to this, and we are going to be, our club president probably will be going from club to club, asking other clubs to sign on. We're asking elected officials and clubs to show, you know, maybe the Biden administration is doing this, but at the local level, we absolutely oppose it. We are also actively getting co-sponsors from prominent elected Democrats as we speak. So we would love it if your club would consider this. We will be coming to you in the near future to try to get your support. So that's it. Okay, anything else? Anyone else have anything that they would like to say before we adjourn this meeting? Okay, Richard, your hand is up. Literally.
Okay, thank you, Sonora. Can everybody hear me?
Mhm.
Okay, great. Just wanted to announce that the San Diego County Democrats for Environmental Action, our meeting was moved. It's going to be on the 4th Tuesday this month, and that's on the 28th. We'll be on Zoom. We're going to be having Craig Rose, he's a former energy reporter for the San Diego Union Tribune, talk to us about public power. The Public Power San Diego Coalition is very much alive. And on that note, we're also participating at a rally taking place on April 1st. This is at San Diego Civic Center Plaza, Saturday, April 1st.
Sorry.
And rally is to fire SDG&E and get our city leaders to do what's right and open the door for us to have a municipal power.
Michelle?
Hi, I'm sorry. I was at the Lemon Grove food distribution, so I got on late, obviously. I just wanted to make sure that the clubs are aware that May 10th is the deadline to turn in your rosters to the California Democratic Party, to the secretary, which at this time is Diana Love, and to your regional director if you want to participate in the pre-endorsement. The pre-endorsement won't happen until October, but you have to get those rosters in no later than May 10th. And you can recruit new members because for every 20 members you have in a particular assembly district is where you get a vote in the pre-endorsement. But that recruitment ends on April 25th. So whoever is an active member in your club as of April 25th can count. And anyone, as always, I encourage you to call me for more detailed instructions on it, but I want to make sure that you get the information. I know Sonara got a preliminary email, and the more detailed, like the actual roster information, will be coming out in the next 2 weeks. Thanks. If there's any questions, I'm happy to answer it. Or as always, if anyone can put my phone number in the chat, I'm happy to talk to people offline.
Thank you very much, Michelle. Anyone else? Okay. Hearing no one else, let me check the agenda. I think we can adjourn at exactly noon. So thank you everyone for attending. Thank you for a great meeting, and I will see you all later.
Thank you.
Hey, Sonara, are you saving the chat?
What in the chat? Yes, thank you. Thank you for reminding me. Yes, I am saving that chat.
Because I can't, it doesn't allow us to copy it. So.
I know it didn't allow me last time either, but I changed the settings, so I should be able to save the chat.
Hopefully.
Yes, save chat. Look at that. Stop recording.